Who's there?
Joe.
Joe who?
It's Joe bloody Rackley!
Joe, come on in, come into the chalet, come on, hop in.
I'm in.
A drink.
It's nice and warm in here. It's nice and warm. It's actually not. I'm in my shed and it's pretty cold.
No, don't ruin the illusion. You're ruining the
crumbly,
illusion.
the sound.
So of course I've had absolutely no time to prep an introduction, but I'll go off the top of my head and I'll go from the bottom of my heart. For those that don't know, you are looking at the original stunt man, a man with a moustache that would make Ron Burgundy hang on, edit that bit. A man with a moustache that would make Ron Burgundy how do you say? What does a cat do? Purrs, that's it.
Yeah, purr.
A man with a moustache that would make Ron Burgundy purr. Now, this is Joe Rackley. I've known Joe for years and years. He's a dry slope snowboarder from Hemel Hempstead. He is one of the original OG UK snowboarders. He's been there or thereabouts for years and years and years. He is still an absolute frother and can be found more often than not doing something dangerous, whether it be on a BMX, a skateboard, or indeed a snowboard. And he's also made props for the Jurassic World movies, which is amazing because he's got the biggest hands you've ever seen in your life. It's Joe Rackley!
Hi.
Whoa, that was a great intro, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks. I've had zero prep for this. Ollie texted me like mid-afternoon. Do you want to be a special guest? And I was like, oh God, really? Have you run out of celebrity friends? So I feel like totally underqualified.
What did I say in response to that? I said...
Hang on.
I said you are a celebrity.
You said... Well, hang on a second. You said celebrity friends. You're friends with Rylan, for goodness sake. You don't get any more A-list celebrity than Rylan.
I said to Ollie, have you run out of celebrity friends to get on the show? And that's why you're asking me. Because you've had like pro snowboarders
But that's what I'm saying. You are one of our celebrity friends.
I say.
Partied with Rylan. You've rubbed shoulders with the great filmmakers of Leavesden Studios.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, cool. I just feel like
no, listen, like full disclosure, like Joe was a bit worried about it. I said, look, Joe, come on, it'll be fine, it'll be fun. I haven't seen Joe in years. We did, Tim and Joe did Jenny, we did a TV show back in 2015, years ago. It was a long, long time ago. And I think I've seen you like twice since then, Joe.
Ollie.
Is he gone?
Have I?
He's gone for me as well.
Is there a way of me turning up the volume on my headphones on the computer?
This is going so well. I'm really enjoying
You're the one that's fucking it up, not me.
Yeah, it is. It's literally you, Ollie.
Is it my internet? Is it my internet?
Yeah.
Wait, what was the show? Was it the one where you had all the challenges or something? What was the... It was the Challengey Show. What not? It wasn't called the Challengey Show. What was it?
That would be a better name if it was the Challengey Show.
Better name, the Challengey Show, yeah. It was called The Indestructibles, and it was made from the brains over at Factory Media when Factory Media was a thing, and Ollie worked there at the time. Ollie was our resident science man. Me and Gendel were the presenters, and Joe was our engineer slash... Well, I don't think he was supposed to be the crash test dummy, but he ended up being the human crash test dummy.
Yeah.
Because Joe can't help himself. Like, if ever there's a chance to hurt yourself or get injured, Joe is at the front of the line, ready to go.
Why is it just exciting? Do you just love the excitement of Joe not knowing?
I just don't know. I just like hurting myself. Don't know.
Well, the thing is, right? No, look, and I think it would. The reason I wanted to get Joe on here is because whenever I talk to Joe, it's always about something really stupid, or I talk to him about something and then it just divert it and end up calling me Anthony Worrell Thompson. That's basically what happens, right? He'll just call me a little dwarf, and then he'll just call me a cunt. I'll beep that out, but that's basically what he does, and it's great. But I thought if we could just sit him down, because he has popped up on our podcast about 15 times.
That's because I'm a super fan.
Few years, right?
I have like 12 hours a day to listen to podcasts. So yours is one of them that I get on.
No, but you're mentioned on the podcast so many times. You're always mentioned on it for various reasons. So I thought it'd be
people say your name.
Yeah, and so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to actually sit you down and go, right, okay, come on, Joe. I want to know more about how you got into snowboarding, how it all started.
Are we off? Is that where we're going now? I started
question,
at Hemel
Joe,
Dry
just
Slope.
answer it.
Oh, go on. No, I'm answering. So me and Duncan Carr, legendary that he is. We used to ski. On Saturdays at Hemel Dry Slope. I think we had like a season.
Did not. You used to. You're by as well. I had no idea you used to
Well,
ski.
this was the end of it because we used to ski. I don't think we had poles. We were like well ahead of the curve with that. And yeah. But I feel like we had a season pass. We used to do it every Saturday. We were probably about 15, and then we saw some snowboarders, including Pat Murier, and Rob Needham and Chris Carr. A few of those were there, and we were like, oh, we should try that. And then we had like a 1 hour lesson with Katrina, who's Rob Needham's wife, and that was it. We were hooked, and we went to SS20, and Sean Goff sold us. I think this is how it went. He sold us 2 really old Sims snowboards that were like already like 8 years old, and we thought they were like current. And that was like, yeah, they're like, you know, like the Larry ones, like the pink. I mean, I've got one behind me somewhere. And we turned up at Hemel with those, and Katrina was like, oh, they're kind of old, and we were like, oh, they'll work. Yeah, and that was it. We were snowboarding, and we just changed from skiing to snowboarding, and never went back. And then we were Hemel like locals, and Rob was like, oh, we've got a dry slope scene at Hillingdon, like a freestyle scene. You should come and check it out. And Hillingdon is in Uxbridge, not as local to us, but we went there, and it was like unbelievable. There was like 2 ramps that we used to get out. You know, I remember the first few nights we went there, and everyone was like, obviously, I wouldn't say it's cliquey, but you know, everyone's mates, and you don't know anyone. But as soon as you're in, and then yeah, and we'd been riding for a bit already, so we kind of like been hitting the moguls and the pump bumps. But as soon as we hit jumps, we could sort of already go off them okay, and it was wicked. And we didn't even ride snow for that year, I don't think. Like we just rode dry slope and loved it. It was amazing.
Now it's worth noting at this point that the Hemel that Joe's talking about there is the old Hemel dry slope, so not Hemel as you now know it, listeners. And my first encounter of Joe Rackley was with. So, like Joe said, there were scenes cropping up a lot across the UK in the late 90s, early late 90s. There were scenes. So every dry slope, every local dry slope in every town had its scene. But Joe says cliquey, but I wouldn't say they were cliquey. Now I was part of the town.
No, it wasn't. I just meant that as in like didn't know anyone, and everyone thinks they're obviously all mates, aren't they? And you're like, oh god, they're gonna like accept us. But as soon as you do like a double cooked 10, they're your mate, aren't they?
double slam 10 is what Joe said. And so I was part of the Snowdome scene, and then all of a sudden these Londoners started to come up and hang out on these Cockneys, as we called them, used to come and hang out. They live nowhere near the East End. Used to come and hang out on Tuesday nights, and we were fascinated that they would drive up on like what was essentially a school night. They would make the 2.5 hour journey up the M40 or the M1 or whatever to come and ride. But yeah, and that's how I got to meet Duncan and Joe, and then just throughout the course of snowboarding and doing contests and getting into the dry slope contests, we were like a travelling circus, and every
you and the rest of
Sheffield or High Wycombe.
That was it. We used to see each other on the dry slope scenes, and everyone's Sheffield was like the mecca, wasn't it? But once a year, Sheffield was the finals of the British champs, and everyone was there, and everyone knew each other. It was such a good scene. Probably tiny, wasn't it? Probably about 100 of us.
Yeah.
But everyone knew each other. And, it was amazing. And then obviously there's a few other dry slope comps.
Did you go to the domes at all then, Joe, or were you just dry slope?
Yeah, we used to go to Tamworth. We used to go to Tamworth. Tamworth was the only dome.
Okay.
And I remember when it opened, it was like, there's no. I think I might have got my timeline wrong. I started in like '93, so we were like, they're opening a thing. Do you know when it opened, Tim? Do you know when it started? Tamworth?
Yeah, 94.
Okay, so yeah, I remember when it opened and everyone was like, oh, let's go and check it out. And it was a bit weird for me. I prefer dry slope. I still probably, well, I haven't ridden dry slope for 15 years, but back then, I couldn't really ride Tamworth. It just felt weird. And I mean, it's not even real snow now, is it? It's just like ice shavings. But dry slope was what I liked. But we used to go to Tamworth and just hang out. And yeah, it was pretty cool. Thinking about it now.
So throughout your career then, growing up on dry slope, Hemel and at Hillingdon, rest in peace, Hillingdon. What did you break? What have you broken? Talk us through your injuries that you've done.
Oh, God.
Because you are a product of dry slope.
I broke my wrist a few times. It's actually hurting quite a lot today. It still hurts quite a lot. I had an operation on it, but it hasn't really worked. That was 30 years ago. But it's actually getting worse. It's getting worse with old age, I think, arthritis and cold and stuff.
No.
I'm not actually broken that many things on dry slope. I've done with ligaments and collarbones and other things that aren't snowboarding. Probably more bike stuff than snowboard stuff for injuries. Bikes are way more dangerous than snowboards, like by a long shot. I don't know, like how much bike. In fact, that just reminded me. The last time I saw you, Tim, I wrapped myself around a tree, didn't I?
He kept going on. He kept banging on about. He kept saying to me, "Come and ride bikes with me. Come and ride bikes." And I'm not very good at riding bikes either, but I do love it, and I'll happily sit there and watch.
Well, I want you to try the e-bike, didn't I? That was it.
Yeah, because he just bought an e-bike, and I was giving him a load of crap for having an e-bike. I said, "Oh, only old men do it," and da da da. But he said, "No, come on, you can use my dad." So we went down, and I surprised him one day. I said, "I'm coming down on Saturday. We're going to. I think it might have been a Thursday." I said, "I'm coming down. Let's go ride these bikes." So he did take me on the Joe Rackley tour of Watford, and it was really, we had a great day. We went to all these crazy jumps, and there was this one. Well, in my mind, I remember it being absolutely massive. This huge dip down through this forest, this big depression. Joe comes cycling like, you hear the e-bikes. He's like, powering down to launch this huge step up in the woods, and I'm standing at the top of the step up thinking, "Whoa, this looks pretty big." And up he comes full speed, obviously thinking, "I'll show Tim," and he like launches, and then just drifts a little bit too far to the left, lands uncontrollably, and just rides straight into a tree. Wraps himself around a tree, takes his knuckle off pretty much.
I don't think the jump was as big as you're making out, but.
God, it.
Yeah,
felt
but you do.
it. You were in the air for
when I first met you, I just remember just thinking, who is this goon who, like, will just take pain and just kind of be all right with it and just throw himself off stuff and be like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll kind of, I'll just give it to me.
Yeah, that's because Robin was writing it into the script. I mean, Robin was writing it into the script, and Joe does this stunt, and I was like, really? But yeah.
Yeah, Robin was the director, who was a bit of an oddball, wasn't he? But it's yeah. But you still did it, and there's still things that you like. Aside from Robin writing those things in the script, you also, like, when we were like in a hotel or whatever, or like in the evening, you used to come up with these fucking stupid games. I remember one with a pool table. And you go, right,
that's Tim's game.
A pool ball. You throw. Well, you were the fucking instigator, even if it was Tim's game. You threw it as hard as possible.
I still do that, and I've introduced a lot of people to it, but I've got that off Tim. That's one of my favourite games now.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Is that actually your game,
Tim? Put your head on the felt and let the ball come back and whack you on
It's because it makes an amazing noise and doesn't hurt as much, so it's like risk versus reward. It's like the reward's much better than the risk.
Wait, explain the game.
Well, yeah, but just... Oh, Jenny, it's the most stupid game. So, Tim can.
A pool table or a snooker table, what you do is you get a ball, and the game is you've got to wang it down the table, bounce it off, and see who can do the fastest. You wang it down the table, it bounces off the cushion at the other end. You then put your forehead down on the felt and let the ball whack you directly on the top of the head.
It hurts so much.
It hurts so bad. But the game is to see who can do it the hardest. But we used to do it. My friend Rich Job basically came up with this game, and we used to do it on his snooker table. But once Rich threw the ball down the table, put his head down. His brother Dan stopped the ball, grabbed it, and whacked it. so hard into the top of his head and nearly knocked Rich out. Basically, Rich couldn't walk for about an hour. He was, I think, pretty much concussed.
Okay, but that's Tim's game. It's a terrible game, Jenny. Don't
play it. Are the game rules going to be in the show notes for people?
Game rules in the show notes.
Yeah, with a very explicit warning not to play the game. But also, Joe, you do things like you pick up swans. Talk us through picking up a fucking swan.
Oh, cool. What?
Why does this always come up? It's not that brave or hard. They're not really ready for it because they're so smug, aren't they? They're not expecting it. I don't know. I catch more pigeons than swans, to be fair.
No, but nobody does this. You post pictures of yourself holding swans. I think that the myth is, or the thing is, and I remember hearing it when I was a kid, that swans break your arms, right? If you go near a swan, you can break your arms.
It's not possible. They're not strong enough. They don't weigh anything. It's like a pillow with a long neck. Shall I tell you the story about the first time that I caught a swan? I was with Steph, wife. I was with Steph, the wife, and Duncan, his wife, Elle, and their son, who was quite Jack, who was about 1 at the time. And we were in a park in St Albans, Verulamium Park in St Albans, and I was like, shall I try and catch a swan? And they were in the water. And you can't really get one of these in the water down a step in a pond or a lake. And then Duncan was like, there's one behind you, 180. So I turned around, and this swan was just burrowing towards me, just like he ruled the roost, like no one has ever touched him. So I bent down and picked him up. And it's simple as that. It's not that great. And then since then, every time I see some swans, I'm like, shall I grab one? Everyone's like, yeah, grab a swan. And I just grab a swan.
Does it not try and peck your eyes out this really long neck?
A pigeon?
I have picked up a penguin once, actually. I've always caught pigeons. I'm a fan of catching pigeons.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, at the zoo. I think it was at London Zoo. There was a really low fence around the penguin enclosure, and I just picked one up, put it back. It's not that exciting.
God. No, but this is it. Like you have this fearless attitude, Joe, and I genuinely you do. I've never met anybody like you that's got that kind of fearless attitude, and you'll just be like, oh no, whatever, no. But you really do, and I don't know where it comes from. Like, what was it born out of? Was it snowboarding?
No,
I've just always been like that.
I'm not fearless, but I think I'm very logical. So I'll look at like if it's actually like it's not picking up birds isn't scary, is it? So people are like, think about a goose. They just hiss at you. People will run for miles scared of geese. They can't hurt you. So I'm like logical and I think that can't actually hurt me. Obviously, like stunty stuff, sometimes you can get hurt, but picking up birds isn't scary or dangerous. People just have an irrational fear of them, like spiders. But like a goose is about as scary as a spider, but everyone's always scared of geese, and they'll just hiss in your face. They can't actually hurt you. And if they peck you, it's like a Tupperware lid. It's not an actual danger, is it? So I think I just assess the logic.
Tupperware lid.
Yeah, it's true. Next time you see a swan, let it bite your finger.
When you were filming Indestructibles, then, what was the stunt that you were most reluctant to try first? That you were like, nah, this one's...
That's a great question.
The one that I was referring to about Robin writing into the script was me going off a little cliff on a Barbie Jeep, which was it was actually a Land Rover, which was pretty dangerous, but I figured it would be fun. I'll just drop and roll, which I did. Yeah.
Like a little toy did a scene, car, wasn't it, Joe? I think. Yeah,
we did a scene where we raced down the four-cross track on these little Barbie Jeeps. It was amazing. It was so good. Obviously, Tim and Ollie. In fact, Ollie wasn't doing it. Ollie was on the start line, doing the old flag dropping thing.
I did actually do that one though, and I got really badly injured. Yeah. I hit my hip on a tree stump. Yeah.
Well,
can you remember Kendall rolled through the stingers and jumped up and involuntarily shouted the medic's name? He rolled through some stingers and jumped up. Roger.
No, Robbie. His name was Robert. Do you remember Tim? His name was Robert, and we used to call him Robbie Medicine because Robbie Madison was quite big at the time, wasn't he? The motorbike rider, the motocross dude.
Medicine.
That's it. So that stunt was pretty gnarly. But the one that I was most scared of on that show, by a long shot, I think, was the hitting the BMX jump into the lake, because it was absolutely fucking massive. It was massive,
Yeah.
and they most of the jumps and stuff that we built, and like the loop, and that I built it myself. These jumps they got in like a proper guy who was his apprentice or his assistant was Declan Brooks, who actually got a silver medal, silver or bronze, Tim? Silver?
Bronze
medal.
Summer Olympics.
Bronze medal
in
at
Tokyo,
BMX freestyle at the Olympics. But back then he was just like a guy on the. He wasn't actually part of the show, was he? He was just helping build the ramps. And they made these ramps.
Yeah.
And one was like a sort of like this, and one was like this, and everyone was like, "Oh, we'll go off the big one." I was like, "Oh, I've got to go off the big one." And the I think we did the rock scissors stone to see who was going first, and it was these three or four pro BMXer kids. And I was like, I've got to go off this ramp with these kids. And I had done lake jumping on bikes before, but it was massive. And there was about a 20-foot drop down to the lake. And I had to show face and do it. And obviously, I thought I'll send a backflip, because what else was I going to do? Yeah, I was bricking it. And it was fine, obviously, because you can't hurt yourself. You can't hurt yourself from water,
Oh
as we all know.
my gosh!
Honestly,
Have you got that
Jenny,
video
honestly,
clip
I don't know if you've seen it,
somewhere
but it was terrifying.
I
Yeah, it's on my
genuinely
Insta.
think I've
Yeah,
seen
it's
that.
around.
Is Tim not at the top, like asking you how you're feeling as well?
Tim's at the bottom. Tim's at the bottom going, Joe.
Oh,
Egging him on, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was
Egging
the
him on,
one
yeah.
shoot, jumping into the quarry. That was the one thing that I was actually stoked that I wasn't allowed to do, because they wouldn't let me and Gendel, insurance wouldn't let me and Gendel do many of the stunts.
No,
Into
same.
the
I
quarry.
couldn't do all of them.
Go at a few of them. But that was the one. I was like, I'm so glad I don't have to do this, because I would actually be shitting my pants.
It was
about
really
it.
high. I mean, it was a big jump anyway, wasn't it? But like you say, Joe, like it was like a 20-odd foot drop from the
Yeah, it was massive.
the lip of
it was massive.
maybe.
The
Yeah,
drop.
it was. It was. Yeah, it was huge. It
And
was
all those kids were, like,
genuinely
comfortable
thought
on
you were gonna
bikes, they
fuck
sort of-
yourself up.
Yeah. And the BMX kids are like have aerial awareness, and they have like bike skills and stuff. And
Yeah.
obviously, I've got a bit of bike skills, but not like that. And I was just like, what's going to happen here? And it was fine. But,
more because
yeah,
it's the
I wouldn't say I
idea
was
of getting
petrified,
the kicking or getting the bike away from you, so that it's not like part
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the landing.
yeah, totally.
Is that what you mean?
And I've actually got a
Yeah.
they actually used a clip on that episode of me cutting my leg open in a quarry doing the same thing near me, which is like one of the videos that show stemmed from. And I had to go to hospital and
you
get my leg
gashed your
stitched
leg
up.
open, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was doing exactly the same thing. But I think when I watched the video back of that stunt for the show, I think I jumped through the bars and the bike went behind me, I think.
The thing is, though, right, so people probably listen to this thinking, okay, right, so he picks up swans, he's been snowboarding for ages, and he does backflips on bikes and, like, hurts himself and that kind of stuff. But the other thing that you do, which I always think is incredible, and I think the first time I was like, oh, my God, he's actually kind of quite talented, was I went to your house, and you'd made this model BMX, right? And it was that you'd made this thing. And I was like, how did you make that? And he was like, yeah, I made the whole thing by hand. And I made each little kind of nodule in the tyre and that stuff. And you showed me pictures of it. You had like an album of how you made it. And I was like, first of all, how do you do that? Second of all, your hands are fucking huge, right? And they're ridiculous. How someone like you can have the dexterity to build something like that? But you are like you're brilliant at making shit, and you now do that for Hollywood movies.
I'm a model making geek, is what I am. I'm a snowboarder, extreme sport gnarly dude sometimes, but at heart I'm a model making geek. Yeah, simple as that. I don't know. That's what I've always done.
3D printers.
That's what I've always done, like for work anyway, for money, other than the occasional silly stunty thing. For
What's
factory
your
media.
dream
for a couple of
model
years.
making gig?
Let's talk about the jobs. Oh, sorry, we're not talking.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've been doing films recently. Yeah, some of the stuff I do is quite interesting. A lot of it isn't. A lot of it's just furniture and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Just anything that's like. I like doing a bit of machining, like getting involved on the lathe and stuff. Bit of turning on the lathe. That's what I geek out on. But yeah.
Now
whatever.
listen, I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna break this down a little bit better for you. So Joe has made props for the likes of Big Brother. so Joe stood behind the mirrors and watched all the Big Brother contestants shower. Joe has met Riley at Big Brother. Joe has made the games for the Crystal Maze, of all things. I mean, the Crystal Maze, for God's sake. Joe made the games. That's what he did. And he's also, when he talks about making a few little props, no, Joe made props for Jurassic Park. If you're a fan of Jurassic Park, the original, where the guy smuggles or he's trying to smuggle the dinosaur DNA off the island in the shaving foam aerosol can. Joe made the aerosol can.
I didn't. Back up. I didn't make that one. Yeah,
You didn't make the
that film was like
1994 one. You made, yeah.
No, I didn't. But for the latest Jurassic World film, they wanted one for a scene, for a nod back to that, and so I made that. Yeah, which that sort of thing is what I like making. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
go on,
really
talk through
complex.
Some of the Hollywood films you've worked on. Then, come on, what have you worked on? What
I've not done that many because
looking out for.
I've not done that many because I did. I've not been doing films for that long. I did obviously work for model making companies for years, making toys and stuff. And then I did TV for a bit with Big Brother and Crystal Maze, like you said, and a few other TV shows. And then only in like 19, I got on Jurassic, and that was my first film. And then I did House of the Dragon, which was the Game of Thrones prequel. And then I did Napoleon, which isn't out yet. Which is have you heard of that, Napoleon? I think it's Scorsese. No, not what's his name? Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott film with
This
Joaquin
is a world
Phoenix.
Exclusive.
Yeah, oh yeah, fucking hell, I probably shouldn't be talking about this stuff. Yeah, it's a Ridley Scott film with Joaquin. No, it's been in the papers and that. This film, it's probably out this year.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, Joaquin Phoenix. You know what? He's like a proper hardcore vegan, and they couldn't use any leather for making stuff. And there's horses, obviously Napoleon. There's horses and costumes and that, and they had to make all the horse saddles out of rubber and stuff, and the painters couldn't use like beeswax for the making textures on wood because he wouldn't be around it. So like they had to like get all these different materials because Joaquin Phoenix was kicking off about how vegan he was.
Flipping heck.
There you go.
Yeah,
Wait,
that is cool.
That's full on.
What did you do what were you doing for that one? Did you say? What was your role in that one?
Just making stuff, making props.
Yeah, but what?
So just like
is there any
just like wheelbarrows and just like just sort of furniture. And I made a pretty cool wheelchair. I made a wheelchair that was like I don't know. Am I going to get bollocked for talking about this?
I don't know. Have you signed an NDA? No idea.
Oh, I made like an old-fashioned wheelchair for that film, which is kind of cool. Like a nice. It's like your one handles and the wheels move. That was pretty cool. It's only like a background prop. Like.
Yeah, fine. That's no spoiler. They were around in Napoleonic times.
No.
I'm sure it's fine. Old-fashioned wheelchairs. It's all right. It's all good.
Yeah, we're safe.
Does it blow your mind how much work goes into making movies? Because actually, I texted you the other day because I was at the Harry Potter world.
Oh, yeah.
Just round the corner from your house. And the detail in those movies that you see in the background, the Harry Potter movies, it just genuinely blew my mind, the level of detail. How does it feel for you when you make all these models and then it's in the back of a shot for like 3 seconds or probably less than, and you've spent perhaps 2 or 3 weeks making it?
I don't really care how much is on the screen, to be honest. If it's nice to make, I don't really care. If it's honestly, and that the Barbasol can, the Jurassic thing, it slides in and out of in the film. It never comes out. I made all the working mechanism with the cryogenic DNA thing, whatever, And in the new film, it doesn't come out of its can. So like.
Oh my goodness!
It's just
I don't care. I just like making it.
Oh my god!
Yeah. I think it's on the shelf in one of the scenes towards the end, and then there's like a big explosion or something happens and it falls off and it rolls along the floor and the camera pans to it and it's like everyone the Jurassic Park geeks that's the Barbasol can from the first film, but it doesn't come out of the sleeve, and I spent I don't know like a week making it and it was perfect. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. It's mental. But I don't really care.
Just to lean things back onto.
But
I just want to lean things back ever so slightly onto winter sports, only a tiny little bit, because and it does link through to the making stuff. But you do jump building as well, or you used to, didn't you? Did you used to look after the stuff at Battersea and that kind of stuff, didn't you? And like help build all the jumps there and shape.
Yeah. So it stemmed from being a local at Hemel, and then they closed for a year. They're like, we're going to shut for a year and spend 23 million and make it into a snow dome. And me and Duncan and a few others, Jadams, Mikey C, Andy Hare, we were like, James Fuller, Jenny knows Fuller quite well, so does Tim. We were like, who's going to build your park for you? I don't think they thought about the fact that they couldn't just get a dry slope ramp and stick it on the Dendix once it's a snow slope. So they're like, we don't know. So we're like, okay, we'll be your freestyle team and make you jump. So for the first 5 years it opened, we built the park, just me and my mates, until 2 a.m. It was amazing. So we build it and then we'd destroy it before anyone even got to ride it. Give it a little tickle, make it look better again, and then go home and go to bed. And I managed to wangle the job I had at the time. I managed to wangle not working Fridays. So Thursday night we'd do like the graveyard shift from like 10 till 2 and make this beautiful park. Yeah, it was wicked, and it's a shame because the parks now are a bit shit, and you see a lot of comments online saying, "Oh, they were so much better back in the day and stuff," and when we were doing it, because we used to spend time. I'm not going to slag off the park builders now. I don't think it's not the kids that do it. It's the management don't give them time or money or enough crew, I guess. But don't give them creativity. That's the main problem. They don't let them.
Were you never tempted to go out and do stuff on, like out in the mountains and work on the snow parks there and things?
No, I always had a full-time job and a career, and then I had a family and a mortgage and all that sort of stuff, so never really panned out like that. So
grown-up stuff.
Wasn't to be. But yeah,
don't blame your family. No, you didn't have a family. You're trying to blame your family. No, I'll tell you what you had. You had an addiction to cars, and that needed to be fulfilled.
No,
and you
not
had
really.
to work to pay for your cars. Yes, you did.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I've never really spent that much time away because I've always been working and had a full-time job. But yeah, building the stuff at Hemel was wicked at the time, but through that, did the stuff at Battersea for the ski show. Again, working with Tim, that was wicked. I used to love doing that. And then I don't know, it's in Birmingham now, isn't it? Indoors. I don't know what happens now, but yeah, love doing that.
Yeah.
And then back to the stunts. Every year I'd send it off a jump on some sort of contraption that I'd made, and Tim would be on the mic going, Joe. I love that. It was amazing. That was my highlight of the week.
Getting everybody right.
on a Ringo. On the Ringo was ridiculous. I had to try and get enough speed by going off a step ladder on the top rope, like as it were, from the top of the running. And you'll know, Jenny, the top of those roll-ins for
jump on a.
Well, yeah, like a city jump. When you look down those roll-ins, obviously Battersea is smaller than, Innsbruck and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty steep, isn't it? When you got a Ringo under your arse, I was like, oh man, how's this going to work out? Yeah, it's good.
Fuck that. No way. Oh my god, no way. I obviously never did the Innsbruck one, so I don't know.
Sorry.
But go on, carry on. So it's my delay. I'm really sorry, Joe, if you're sensing a big delay from me. It's because I'm in France and I've got terrible Wi-Fi where I'm at. Sorry.
I just want to say, before we get on the chairlift, I want to touch you very quickly. I want to touch on your snowboard collection, because Joe is a proper retro snowboard geek, and link in the show notes to a picture of Joe's.
Hang on a minute, I've got to write this shit down. Hang on. Wait.
Yeah, write that down. Joe, how's your snowboard collection coming on? How many snowboards do you own now?
I stopped buying them about 5 years ago, I think I got all the boards I wanted, and that was it.
You bought a couple. Really? Do you see? Because just behind me, I don't know if you can see. Let me get it for you. I just picked up an old snowboard. This is the A-board method. My second ever A-board.
Yes.
How sick is that?
That is sick.
Oh, nice.
And how does it make you feel when you look at it?
Had this on my second. Oh, it honestly makes me feel like a kid. It makes me feel so weird when I look at it.
That's it. That's why
how much I loved it when I was younger.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just a hoarder, and I've kept 99% of all the boards I've ever had. So I've got like 20, 30 boards anyway before I started sort of buying stuff. And then I just it was quite a big scene, to be honest, more in America. But yeah, I just wanted the boards that were like mostly Burtons, like in the mid-90s, all the Harkonnen, the sword one and stuff, and all those sort of things, and a Jamie Lynn. I wanted all them, so I just bought them because I'm rich,
I wish
yeah,
I'd bought a Jamie Lynn one. Oh.
My Jamie Lynn's sick, and it's so weird. It's got
How many?
I don't know, 50 or something. They're behind me. Can you look?
Yeah, no. Sorry, carry on with the Jamie Lynn one as well. Sorry.
So the Jamie Lynn. Should I put it down? I'll show you it. Hold on. Bear with me.
It's like the one with the crazy nose and tail that, like, literally looks like a tea tray.
50 boards. That's more than most shops have.
It's a great collection, though.
Yeah, he should open it as a museum. Yeah. We should do it. We should have Joe's board collection on display. He's got it on the lathe, Jenny.
Just whittling it away on the lathe. He's put down the latest dinosaur eggs that he's making for Jurassic World 9, and he's just oh, look at that! Yeah, look at the nose and tail on it.
Right, so the nose and tail. But firstly, they're you can't see here, but they're like actually see through. You can sort of see through them in the light. But look how weirdly whippy it is.
Oh, what?
Weird.
Oh my god, that is mad. It's like
just a weird shape. And the other thing was that when back in the day, Tim might know this because he's not dry slope, he's a snow dome kid, but no one used to ride Libtex because the rail stops there, and when you ride dry slope, that would get dinged and ripped out. So all the boards we rode had a continuous rail. So no, we didn't really see Libtex. I mean, the people had them, but not very many because they weren't made properly. Well, they're fine for snow, I guess. But yeah, that rail would always get ripped out, and some on our real old boards, this bit here, I could drag another one down if you want me to, but this bit here would wear through, and and you'd see the construction of the rail, and it'd be all like the bits of metal, and you'd see it all, and it'd go through past that and into the wood, and we used to fill it with P-Tex, and it would get ripped out again. But that's how our boards went back in the day. And I've got actually quite an interesting story. I used to ride for Nidecker. The guy who owned the local skate shop, Lawrence Paul, he started importing Nidecker and hooked me and Duncan up. And he spoke to the people at the factory, and they made a board that had about an inch of like extra hard P-Tex down both sides for dry slope. And there's only one, and it was mine. And it was cool. And it actually worked better for dry slope because it wouldn't wear out so fast.
That is cool.
Yeah, and that's one of the probably two boards that I haven't got anymore because I lent to a friend. I've kept all my boards apart from that and maybe one other. I lent it to a friend and he stuck it in his loft and his dad binned it. So, yeah, gutted.
No!
That would have been the...
Oh, no.
I know. That would have been like the one board that I'd have wanted the most because it's like a bit of a custom. I've bought that board since. It's a Nidecker Jason Evans. But not the actual one with the edges. But yeah, it's cool.
Okay,
right.
Tim, take us to the lift.
This is the perfect time to put our boots back on, I think. The fire's gone down. We've all had our glue vines. Let's go and have a ride, shall we?
You.
Do we have to make up a ride?
I also haven't prepared anything because it was all quite last minute, so the chairlift.
We're on the chairlift. Very good place for a natter, as we all know. What's your favourite snowboard story, good or bad, Joe? When you think back, I mean, you've got a massive history. The one thing that I always think about when I think about you and snowboard, your best snowboard story, is that like you were instrumental in so many amazing things. Like you said about loop, you were the first man to build a loop the loop on dry slope. You used to build quarter pipes and fly offs and. You'd have, you'd turn up, I'd see these pictures coming out at Hemel and there'd be a gas tube coming from one slope over the track, the T-bar track, off a fence and just, you used to build so many crazy contraptions. Why were you never just content with the slope?
Because dry slopes are just one big, long, flat surface. So you don't really, and you've got to. We obviously had obstacles lying around, jumps and Rayleigh things, so we used to just put them in different places, I suppose, to make it interesting. I don't know, simple as that, isn't it?
What's the best thing you ever built?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that loop was cool, wasn't it, for the TV show? Not that any of us rode it,
Yeah,
but
that was
one
cool.
person sort of made it around it, which was kind of funny. But,
I don't know if you saw
I
it,
don't know.
Jenny,
Did
Yeah.
someone
but
actually
Joe
make
built
it
a
round the
loop.
to loop?
yeah, Sven
Thorgren,
Thorgren
didn't he?
Came
got
over
around
from
it.
Sweden.
Yeah. We tried to get Nichols, because we were actually at Nichols' proper home slope. No, we tried to get Nichols, but he was injured, wasn't he? And he would have been perfect. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
his slope, and he's the Snowflex king. And they shipped Sven over, who'd never ridden anything other than snow. And to be fair to him, like he did pretty well. He rode it pretty well, didn't he? And we had Dan Wakem
Yeah, and he
and
did
Scott
it with a
Penman.
smile on his face, and he gave it a real good go.
Yeah. Well, he had a smile on his face, but also a massive Snowflex graze on his cheek, where he face butted the floor on one of the attempts. Do you remember? Proper carpet burn on his face.
Oh my god!
But what is it? But go on.
We
What's
lost
your
Jenny
best
as
like
well.
riding story? Like from you know. No, I think Jenny's probably there. But like, what's your best riding story, Joe? Just from throughout the years, just one
Oh, I
story
don't know.
that you can recount for us while we're on the chairlift. It's got to be something. I mean, you've done so many mad things. Like all of the things you've got more hobbies than I've got fingers. Like, and you've done so many different things. I just think you've got to have a story knocking about in there.
I don't know. Most of the things I remember are injuries, generally.
That's fine.
I don't know. I did my when I did my ACL in my anterior cruciate ligament, as you probably know, in about
nice.
in about 98 or something.
Before it was
I think
cool
it was
to
in
do it.
Lazard
Before it
or
was cool
Team.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the Brits, one of the Brits, and I did it. I just overshot a jump, landed like way flat. I think the jump was badly built because I think Cy Brass did the same thing on the same jump and broke both his wrists and had both his wrists in casts on the same trip.
Brits.
I've heard
Yeah, the
about
Brit-
that.
yeah.
Someone else had to wipe his bottom for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, and I think I was in a van with Russ Ward and Johnny Parker and another guy. I don't know. I think Cy came back with us because he couldn't carry any luggage, so he jumped in the van with us. And I think this Johnny Parker, is it Johnny Parker? Have you heard of him, Tim? Johnny Parker?
Yeah, Johnny Parker. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I feel like he had his arm in the sling. I think there was 3 of us that were injured in the one van, and we got pulled over by the gendarmerie looking for drugs.
No.
And everyone like hobbled out of the van and crutches and slings and wrist casts and stuff. And I must have thought, what the fuck's going on here? Yeah, it's mental.
Pulled over an ambulance.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was weird because they didn't find any drugs, but then as soon as we got back in, Russ's mate, I don't remember his name, I think it was like a Marino, he was in the army and he'd got a bit of leave and was coming on this trip on the Brits, didn't know anyone. And he pulled out a massive block of hash out of his snowboard boot. He's like, I didn't find this today. And everyone was like, fucking hell. Well, we're getting searched for drugs and he had yeah, mental.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Right then, let's do a run, shall we? Come on, strap in. We're at the top. Bar up. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Joe, did you get 3 songs?
I mean, I had like, when I read that message about the prep and what I needed to prepare was like 10 minutes before I came into the house and had to do a bath a child, set this up. So no, I haven't, but I can probably think of 3 off the fly.
We can wing it.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
go
Tim will intro them and then I'll find them on here and then play them. It's quite a short bit, but it's quite nice, and then we'll add them to the
So
playlist.
3 songs. Just have a think now. 3 songs you need. You need a song to get ready to in the morning. You need a song to ride to, and then a song for partying.
Right. Got it.
All good?
I'll have a think.
Do you know? Have you got one that you want
Of course he
to?
does.
Get ready to. Okay, I've got some songs. I'll go a bit mainstream.
I know
But... Go on.
You can go a bit mainstream. Well, surely you've got to do 21 Seconds.
No, it's good.
Okay.
Not for snowboarding though.
All right then. Right then, making tracks. As you know, you get a chance now to immortalise 3 songs of your choice and put them onto our Après podcast Making Tracks playlist, which is available on Spotify. And you know what? We've had a few people messaging in to say they've been listening to it whilst they've been away in the mountains. Namely, Sam Plank sent us a really good voice memo. But you can indeed find the link to the Spotify playlist in the show notes. But Joe, it's time to put your 3 songs on it. Make your stamp on the playlist. Track 1 we need from you. A track for getting ready or travelling to the hill or maybe riding up the chairlift. What's your first song? What's your first pick?
I'm going to go with The Streets, Blinded by the Lights. Or Lights Are Blinding, Lights Are Blinding My... That one, it's such a tune. Underrated.
Yeah, it's blinded
Obviously it's
by the
rated,
lights.
but...
That's what it is.
It is Blinded by the Lights. Okay.
Oh, it's an amazing...
Yeah, that tune. That's such a good tune. That whole album, in fact, is sick. But yeah, that's my getting ready tune for this. Go straight on it.
Like it. Not had any streets yet.
That's
Thank
the
you.
one.
Good
There you go.
addition.
How did he not find the baggie with his hand in my shoe? Way too close for me. Oh well, at least they allowed me through. Should be a good night in here. Ram.
Oh.
Tim's like a
There you
DJ,
go.
bopping his head with his earphones on.
Yeah.
It just
Mate,
stopped
I was all
playing.
over that track.
It just stopped playing. I don't know why. I
I've
didn't
been
mean
listening
it to
to a
stop
bit of
playing.
the streets recently, actually, because they've been popping up on some edits, and starting to. They're almost retro, aren't they? They're nearly retro.
Have you heard that?
Streets.
The one
I
that
mean,
they
that's-
released
that's-
after...
That's an old track, that.
Yeah, it's old, yeah. There's one they released during lockdown or after lockdown, and it's... How does it go? It's like 21st of June, then they fuck that too. And the chorus is, who's got the bag? It's amazing. You've got to Google it. It's great. That's not one of my songs. Who's got the bag?
Okay.
Yeah, but what is it about that? What is it about Blinded by the Light? Like a getting ready song for me? Like that's.
Oh, I don't know.
It's quite chilled out. Like that's. Not, you just like it. Just,
Yeah. You want
Gets
to
you
get into the zone, don't you? While you're getting your boots on, get into the zone. Don't know. It's just a good tune. I like it.
All right.
Not too-
That's the track for getting ready. Like it. Very good. Good addition. What's the next? Now, this is the question we ask everybody. Do you ride with music? Can you
No.
ride with music? Do
I don't
you
ride with
need
music.
hyping up?
No, I don't ride with music, but I have got a song I'm going to give you for this. But I don't ride with headphones. I like to be social and chat to my mates, especially when you're in one of the domes. It's like a skate park. You're doing laps and your mates are on the lift. Someone with the headphones in, you can't send it. You need to be able to hear, don't you? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are absolutely a frother when it comes to snowboard videos. You love your snowboard films as well, don't you? So you know that music's synonymous with snowboarding.
Yeah. I mean, if you try to ask me to name songs from videos, I'll fail. But like we all did back in the day with our VHSs, we loved them, didn't we? But it's different now, isn't it? It's just all on Instagram and stuff. But I follow all the pages and listen to the bomb hole where they do the name that video part, and they have to play. They play them the song, don't they?
No, I haven't.
Oh, he's not. Okay, it's quite good. It's a good
Amazing.
podcast. Have you not heard it? The bomb hole.
I've listened to the bomb.
Yeah,
Do
we-
you know what?
we-
I've just
we
never
know
got
we
to the
don't
end
like
of many of them.
Don't like promoting other podcasts on
don't
this
give-
podcast.
We don't like.
Oh,
we
sorry.
hate
Sorry.
football. We're going to take
Sorry.
part in a charity boxing
Yeah.
match
Sorry.
in
And
York Hall in Bethnal
It sounds
Green.
like bumhole as well. Just to have that. That's what it sounds like. The bum up. No,
But
if
they
we
do
it,
get like
we'd actually
all
cut-
the big guests. It's good.
Yeah, all right, rub it in.
Oh yeah, it's legit, proper legit. That's a good.
They certainly
Go on
wouldn't
then,
have me
so
on.
Track number. No, they definitely wouldn't have Joe Rackley on. Track number 2 then. Track number 2 for the Making Tracks playlist is.
So this what I'm supposed to be riding to.
Yeah, or it
Yeah.
can be. This can be playing in the Hemel on the loudspeakers whilst
Okay, well,
you're
I-
shredding and all your boys.
It's
are
not
going,
really what I'd ride to, but it does remind me of. So when I went, my first trip on snow was to Andorra, and I was with Duncan, and we were about 16, and it was our first holiday without parents at all, so we didn't know what to do with ourselves. We're just like eating
Oh, my
yogurts and
God.
sliced ham out of the packet and stuff, and asking people to go and get us vodka from the off license. Or it was nuts. We didn't know what we were doing. But yeah, we were there when we were 16 on our first trip without parents on the snow. And I had a Walkman with me, and I think I had one cassette, and it was Rage Against the Machine. The album, the album. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine. Rage Against the Machine. So any song from that I hear, probably less so the main one, the sweary one, because that's you hear it all the time. But any other song from that I hear just takes me back to the holiday. So let's go with Bomb Track. Ollie's got to find it now.
Amazing.
Yeah. Have you got it, Ollie?
There we go. He's quick. How is he so quick?
Louder.
Don't know if I can go louder.
Yes. It's amazing.
Yes, that is good, and that absolutely will get you hyped without a shadow of a doubt.
I love
Good
that.
story as well. I like the
Fucking
backstory
love
to that.
Rage Against the
I can
Machine, they're
imagine
so
you
good.
licking ham in Andorra now. Every time I hear Rage Against the Machine.
Tim, I'm pretty sure licking ham has another meaning. Don't say
does
things
it?
like
I've got
that. No, maybe it doesn't.
I've got a vivid memory of throwing sliced ham onto the ceiling of the apartment we were staying in and watching it stick, and then like we were throwing our not our litter but our food waste out the window of our apartment. We were a few floors up, and like ham, because it was quite deep snow, and towards the end of the week it thawed out and there's this pile of shit outside our window. We better get rid of that,
Love it. Right then, final track then that we need from you. The third and final track now. I should really know this. I don't think you are. You never. If someone was to ask me about you and say, "Is Joe Rackley a big drinker?" I would say not really.
No.
I've never known you to like go full like crazy.
I don't really-
And you drink
I don't
white
really
wine,
drink.
right? When you drink, you like
Yeah, a
white
little
wine.
bit. I
You don't
got
like
a
beer.
bit drunk last time I saw Tim at your North East Famous First Words. I was a bit pissed then. Yeah, I don't really drink.
We could get a bit
I
drunk.
used to. I didn't stop drinking because I was an alky. I just knocked it on the head for a bit. But I don't really drink. I'm a lightweight now. But yeah, I still party hard. I get FOMO, so I don't want to be the last person. I want to be the last person to leave because I get FOMO. So I still party till the end, but generally quite sober.
All right, and so you are. This is the track playing where, in the Après bar or at home over a cooked bowl of sliced ham and yogurt. What is this song?
We're going to go with Justin Bieber. Where Are You Now?
Oh my goodness, he does love a bit of Biebs.
Oh, I love it.
Gosh,
I
that's
love
going on
boy
the
bands and
playlist.
I love pop music.
I've
Good.
got to put it on the playlist.
Best song on there.
What was it called? What was it called?
Where Are
What
You
was it
Now?
called again? Justin Bieber.
Where Are You
what?
Now?
Where?
Purpose album.
Oh, here we go.
Would that be a dream of yours to do some props for Justin Bieber's music video?
Yeah, one of it. Oh, yeah, of course. You know it's tuned in here. You'll know it's tuned in here. I think it's one of the ones with Skrillex or something.
It is, yeah. And Diplo.
There you go. You have to wait for the drop though. It might be too long.
Mate, he's a good skateboarder as well, Justin Bieber, you know.
Yeah, he's alright,
We
isn't
can
he?
find the drop. Let's find the drop.
Shreds on the skateboard.
Oh, hang
Him
on.
and Lil Wayne.
Here it is.
So we've got Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber on the mate. There it goes. Might have to get this on a famous first words playlist actually.
Yeah, you should.
Haven't done Justin Bieber before. Anyway, three very good choices. I like it. They're now on there forever, immortalised. 3 tracks.
They're
from,
there on the
from
Making
Joe
Tracks
Rackley.
playlist. And Joe, I just want to say thanks very much for coming along so last minute. And I want to know, Jenny and Tim, was it a nice surprise? Was it a nice surprise, this? Was it, Joe?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, very cool.
It's I don't think
Thanks.
the delay helped there. I don't think the delay helped.
Jenny doesn't know who I am.
So
Jenny's
Joe,
like, Jenny's still got no idea who I am.
It's so
she
annoying,
knows
the
who you
delay.
are.
That's
I
why
wanna
I'm
know. No, hang on.
speaking so little, because the delay's just making it not flow, and I'm just going to shut up.
Okay,
I
here we go.
would feel
Final
bad
question.
about it, but you're...
Final question. Shut up.
Oh,
Shut
shit.
up.
Oh,
Final
shit.
question.
Shit. Sorry.
Now, of course, we only have frothers on the podcast, and you are a true frother. You've been snowboarding as long as anybody in the UK, I would argue. You still snowboard? You've been away this year? Are you going away? Will you still go away? What's the deal?
I went away a few weeks ago. Last month, I think. I don't know when it was. No, December. Last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went away last year.
Was it
Yeah.
good? Was it good?
It was
Were you
all right.
lucky with the snow? Where did you go?
We went to, me and Dunk flew out to Leon, where Rowan lives, and we didn't know where we were going to go. We were going to go to the nearest resort, because I went there with Rowan the time before, and it was actually pretty good, but they weren't open yet. It was too early in the season. So we ended up going to Morzine, or Avoriaz, and there was like a thing there, like a Volcom, I don't know, some Volcom event, and everyone was there, like Fuller and
the opening weekend event.
Radula and everyone, they were all there. So that was pretty cool seeing people. Just got a couple of days burning around the mountain, trying to survive. Yeah, it was all right.
Nice.
But it's hard to
Good,
get
good,
away,
good.
as you know, with kids and stuff. It's hard.
Yeah. They ruin everything, don't they? The little
They do.
bastards.
They ruin everything.
Joe Rackley, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the log cabin. Thank you for coming and joining us.
Thank
Unfortunately for you, we need you to now make a couple of props for us. If you could make a gun rack, please. We'd also like a decanter made from aluminium for Jenny's whiskies that she likes on the evening.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if you could
the
just
cabin.
make some figurines for Ollie to play with, because he gets a little bit bored sometimes.
Yeah.
No problem.
Knock those up for us. That'd be fantastic. Joe Rackley, everybody. Joe
Cheers,
Rackley.
Joe. Cheers, Joe. Right.
Thank you, Joe.
No worries. Thanks for having me.